Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day today. Welcome back to the show, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. Obviously the author Jeff Kinney does a really good job of making these books funny as well as relatable, and part of that is a bunch of pop culture references thrown in there. Now some of them state the actual product or whatever it is in real life, and others are parodies. So we're going to dig through these books and find some of the craziest pop culture references. So in the very first Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, he mentions Six Flags as a field trip for the safety patrol. If you don't know, Six Flags has a bunch of different theme parks in different locations. It doesn't go into more detail than that in the book. Another theme park it mentions is Disney World, which is in Florida. That was in the 9th book, which the Heffleys planned on going to, but their trip was postponed. When you go into the 2nd book, Roderick Rules, a game that Greg plays with Rowley and his babysitter, his wizards and warlocks, obviously a nod to Dungeons and Dragons. It's a game that they play with dice and paper. Greg does play a lot of video games in the books, and most of them are fictional like Twisted Wizard. But in the 6th book, Cabin Fever, when he's setting up stuff for his holiday event, he does make a Pac-Man machine with Rowley, and the illustrations are pretty much exactly how Pac-Man machines look in real life. In the 4th book, Dog Days, his mom starts a book club, and you see some books from real life, such as Little Women, Old Yeller, Anne of Green Gables, The Yearling, Charlotte's Web. And in the long haul, Greg mentions that Roderick has a reading list, and it shows some real-life books like Moby Dick and A Tale of Two Cities. And he also mentions that Roderick was supposed to read Lord of the Rings, but decided to watch the movie instead and accidentally got Lords of the Ring, which was a wrestling deal. Greg also mentions in the same book that he likes to read the Underpants Bandits series by Mike Davies. Now this is obviously kind of like the Captain Underpants series by Dave Pilkey. Even in just the author's name, obviously they have no E at the end of the first name, and then Davies is the last name instead of Dave as the first name. It's really kind of a play on words. Pretty neat what they did there. And obviously it's a book series about two kids, Bryce and Brody, which the Captain Underpants series is about two kids, George and Harold. And some teachers and parents tried to ban those books, which actually did happen to the Captain Underpants series in real life. And in some libraries, they actually tried to ban the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series because of the theories of Greg being a sociopath and just having poor character. They also mention Flat Stanley. Keeping on the topic of books, in the 11th book, Greg goes on for quite a while talking about the Spine Ticklers series by I Am Spooky, and its rip-offs by other authors that use the first two initials and then their last name. This is obviously a parody of Goosebumps by R.L. Stine, and if you've ever actually read any of the Goosebumps books, you'll notice they aren't really that scary. They're more just kind of weird, which is kind of how Greg describes them, although they do give him nightmares. And then going back again to the 6th book, Cabin Fever, there is a doll in Greg's house called Santa Scout that moves different places each day, watches the kids to make sure they're not naughty, and then he flies back to the North Pole and reports it to Santa. Very similar to the Elf on the Shelf concept. The craziest book is probably the newest, Diaper Overload, which has 3 major pop culture references. The first one being the Hands on a Van challenge. It's a point in the story where Roderick and his band needed the new van. They go to an event where the last person to take their hand off of the van gets to keep it. This is definitely inspired by the Mr. Beast videos that were coming out at the time, like last to take their hand off Lamborghini and other cars. Mr. Beast actually very recently just hit 200 million subscribers, so good for him. Hopefully he passes T-Series pretty soon. It's actually not even a question of if he will, it's just when. But you definitely have to give Jeff Kinney credit there for keeping up with current stuff that kids are watching. Another crazy one is Hippo Henry's, a pizza restaurant with an arcade and animatronics. This is obviously a parody of Chuck E. Cheese, which I'm sure you all know a lot about Chuck E. Cheese, and they even in the book mention that Greg's mom and other moms were complaining about them recycling pizza slices, which was this huge theory back a couple years ago about Chuck E. Cheese. And then the most obvious one, the band Metallica Chihuahua that inspired Roderick and his band. That is definitely a parody of the band Metallica. Anyways, that was all of the pop culture references that I was able to find. Now, obviously, there is 3,689 pages. I probably missed some, so if there's any other ones you remember, let me know in the comments down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one.